Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and another episode of Faerie Talk, or Faerie Chat, as I like to say. And we are going to do a very similar one to last week, where we take a fairy from a photograph and douse with that fairy to find out what message that fairy has to share. Works a little bit more thoroughly, I think, than cards do. We get kind of full sentences. So the photograph that we're using today came from Lions Park in Marshalltown, Iowa. I took it on the 1st of October 2021, and it is photo number 1113. This photo was one out of 65 photographs I took at Lions Park that day. This one just happened to have a lot of fairies in it, and there was one in particular I decided to choose for this video and to have a dowsing conversation with that fairy. So next, I'm going to show you a picture of that fairy and where that fairy is on this photograph that you see on your screen. And then we'll take a closer look at the outline of that fairy so I'm certain that you can see what I'm seeing. And then I'm going to give you a short demonstration of dowsing, getting this fairy's name and getting this fairy's species. After that, I'll go off camera to complete the dowsing message. When I'm done with that, I will share that message with you. One last thing before we get moving forward here. If you like this video, please hit the like button so I know that this is the kind of video that you're looking for. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do, because there's a lot of really cool videos coming your way. So let's take a look at the fairy. Okay, so on the screen, you can see a portion of the full photograph. Can't fit the whole thing on here. YouTube has its limitations. And you can see the red rectangular box that I've placed around the fairy that I am going to douse with. On the right-hand side of the screen, I have given you the same fairy, but without the box and a little closer up. Here I've placed two pictures of the fairy side by side. These photos are exactly the same size. They've been enlarged exactly the same. One is a duplicate of the other. The difference being, as you can see, I've outlined the fairy that I see. And we have eyes, we have a head, we have lots of hair. Her arms are out in front of her, a little bit more than shoulder length apart, and I was only able to get 1 foot. The other one must be very much aligned with the one that we can see. She appears to be dancing to me. So we're going to hopefully find out from her message what exactly is going on in this picture and why she is up on the picnic table. So let's get started with this dowsing. So we are going to do as we did in a previous video for Faerie Talk and Faerie Chat. We are going to use the pendulum and the pendulum board to determine what the name of the fairy who is dancing on the table, and also perhaps her species. And then that is all you're going to see of the dowsing. I will douse later and get the full message. It would be too long for you to sit through the whole dowsing, and it would take forever to load up the video. So let's find out through my guide if she can connect me up to the fairy on the table. And she's saying yes. All right, can the fairy from the table tell us her name? Yes. All right, go ahead then. T. A. R. I. S. Okay, so what we have is Tarish, and is that Tarish? No. Do I have the spelling correct? All right. Is it Tarish? Is that how it's pronounced? Yes, Tarish. All right. Going to write that down. Tarish. So pronounced Tarish. So this is what I have written down. Tarish, pronounced Tarish. Okay. And Tarish, can you tell us what species you are? Yes? Okay, go ahead. V. 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 Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so Tarish, can you tell us what species you are? Yes? Okay, go ahead. V. 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 Okay, I'm getting V, 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 like the letter V is in Victor. Is this correct? No. V, 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 okay, so you apparently like to speak in code a little bit. Let's see, 3V, 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 3V. Okay, so your species is called 3V. All right, is that two separate words? No. But that was the easiest way for you to show us without spelling it all out. Okay. 3V. So let's see. T-H-R-E-E-V. E-E. Okay, so let me write that down. Species. 3V. All right, so species 3V. All right, so thank you, Tarish, for sharing that information, and thank you, Sakina, for helping connect up with Tarish. We will be back. I will be back. I will be back later to douse some more with Tarish, if that's okay with her. Okay. Thank you. Coming up is the message I dowsed from Tarish. This explains my confusion with the VVV. Never expected this, but it's pretty awesome. Check it out. Tarish of the 3V people. The 3V people are thus named as our relationships with those around us is based on the VVV we are gifted with. The first V represents or stands for visions. We are gifted with the sight and are capable of viewing all manner of what your species refers to as time. This would reflect the past, present, and future in any dimension on any timeline, if I were to explain it as a simple process. For the 3V people, it is a simple process. It just is. This is the reason the second V became a part of who we are. With the gift of the first V being known by many, the 3V people were greatly sought after, and often for less than honest reasons. At a point in our history, we discovered that we could vibrate our bodies at a speed that allowed us to immediately be unseen. The speed is so rapid that we enter a totally different frequency and just seem to disappear in front of the eyes of anyone who sees us before we vibrate. I, Tarish, was not dancing in the photograph where my image is seen. I had begun to vibrate as the two humans, you and your companion, came closer to my position. Your apparatus saw me from a distance. That was truly miraculous, as I was already vibrating at the speed in which your human eyes could not see. As for V number 3, this stands for the 3V people's gift of vibrancy. We are able to shine so brightly that most are temporarily rendered sightless. Vibrancy for our protection is used very last, as we abhor causing distress of any kind to any living creature. The 3V people are a peaceful species, but we will do what we are able with our gifts to avoid capture. We have spoken long enough for today, but I see we will again. It appears your species could use a bit of vision. Taha!